Hi everybody, and thanks for joining us today on Pro Tips for You. My name is David Pauley, a Major League right-handed pitcher, and today we're going to talk about the importance and the use of a changeup. Now there are different kinds, different styles, and different types of grips for changeups. The way you're going to throw it, your arm action, everything. There's different ways that everybody does it. I'm going to show you a few of the most successful, most used ones. Most guys use a straight four-seam straight changeup. Now basically the easiest way to grip this is to take your four-seam fastball and slide one finger over to the side, and so that your two middle fingers, your middle finger and your ring finger, are in the center of the ball where your first and middle finger would be if you were throwing a fastball. And you want to almost create a circle on the inside of your hand. This is also called a circle changeup, and it'll create the type of action that the ball will go down and away. This works the same as a straight four-seam changeup. It's just an added movement of your thumb and first finger. Now the other one is a two-seam changeup grip, and it's almost like throwing a two-seam fastball, except for you're going to use the same thing. Your two middle fingers on the seams on the inside of the ball, and the same thing, creating that inside finger off the ball, and so that you have a little bit more drag. Now the main reason for a changeup is to look like a fastball but be slower and give the same action, so that you can get a softer swing, sometimes get guys out in front and get a ground ball or an easy fly ball to get out of an inning or to get a double play. Now there's a lot of guys that say that you have to try and create a changeup to make it move, to make it do what it's supposed to do. I've found out, and I've learned throughout the many years that I've done this now, that it's not so much what you do to make the ball move, it's more or less your arm speed and your hand speed that's going to make the difference in the pitch and the way that the hitter sees it. Now for me, throwing a four-seam straight changeup, your general knowledge, what you want to do is you want to throw right down the middle of the plate. You want them to see a straight moving pitch, what they're going to think is a fastball, but at the last second it's going to have a little bit of late action towards the right hand or your arm side of the plate. And that's going to create that little bit of change in their mind, in their swing process, that's going to make them get off of their backside and try and get out in front so that they get that ground ball. More or less, you're throwing this to contact. You want them to hit this pitch because of the fact that you want them to get themselves out. This is a way that you can try and move back and forth. You hear a lot of people say moving in and out and back and forth. This is something that you use to go back and forth. Now, the easiest thing to do is just to pick it up, grip it as hard as you can and throw it, but that's really not the proper way to do it. What you want to do is you want to create it just like it's going to be a fastball. You want to have the same thought process in your mind that you're going to throw a fastball when you're throwing a changeup. Everything's the same. You're going to come set, normal position, make sure you're in a good, strong position. Your hand is going to be on top of the ball, nice and loose, so that, if somebody came out, they could just pull it out of your hand. You don't want to be gripping it, because then the ball, it's not going to do what you want it to do. So you want to have a nice, loose grip, so that if you really wanted to, you could just let that ball fall out of your hand. Okay? And as you position yourself, you come set, you're thinking just as you would with a fastball. Arm speed, everything is going to be the same. You come set, direct line towards home plate, and as you get to here, you'll see in my hand how it's kind of tucked back a little bit, and I've got more fingers on the ball, which is going to create the drag and create the difference in speed. You don't have to do that yourself with your arm or your hand. That's what you want to do. You want to keep your arm speed and your hand speed the same as you would if you were throwing a fastball. The main difference with having more fingers and having more surface area on the ball, it's going to create that speed change. Okay? So with a regular straight changeup, you're going to come set in a good relaxed position, and you're going to, when you go to deliver the ball to home plate, you really want to stay out in front and make sure you finish right through the catcher. Okay, you're going to throw it just like a fastball, and like I said, having more fingers and more surface area on the ball is going to create that change of speed. You don't have to do it by trying to slow yourself down or slow your arm down. Okay, you want to keep the same arm speed as you would on a fastball, same hand speed. Everything else is going to be created, like I said, by the surface area on the ball. Now the other one that I showed you is a two-seam fastball. A lot of guys, or a two-seam changeup, I'm sorry. A lot of people will use this to get more down action as a split finger, or something moving away from a left-handed hitter or down and in on a right-handed hitter. I've used both in games, I've used both at different situations. This is more or less used as an out pitch instead of a contact pitch. Guys will throw this one, you know, and it'll look like it's going to be that straight four-seam fastball or four-seam changeup, and as it gets to the plate, it dies away and it gets more of a down dropping action, and that'll create more of an over-the-top swing, and you'll get more strikeouts this way. The same way you would throw a straight changeup is the same way that you're going to throw your two-seam changeup. Okay, as you come set, you want the same thing. You want to stay in a good, solid base position. Arm speed and hand speed are going to stay the exact same. Same thing when you get out front. Obviously, your hand's going to be on top of the ball. You're going to have more surface area, so it's going to slow it down. On this one, when you get out in front, you really want to make sure that as you release the ball, this middle finger is the last finger off the ball, same way as you would if you were throwing a two-seam fastball. You want to make sure that you create that little bit of pull at the end so that you get that down action down and away. You don't try and turn it over, you just try and make sure that you get that extra finish at the end so that you get that tailing action. A lot of these are used, especially the straight changeup, are used when you're behind in the count, something other than, you know, if say you're down, you know, 2-0 or 2-1. This is something that's going to give you another look to the hitter to say, you know, here's my fastball, but I can throw this for a strike too, and it's going to look the exact same. That's the whole mentality of throwing a changeup, and that's why you throw a changeup. Me personally, I like throwing my changeup to both sides of the plate, to righties and lefties. I've come to be able to command it to both sides of the plate and throw it to both sides. A lot of right-handed pitchers won't throw changeups to right-handed hitters, and the same with left-handed pitchers to left-handed hitters. If you can do it and you can do it consistently, it becomes a great pitch for you. It looks the same as your fastball, but the speed difference is what creates the change in their swing and gets you the out that you might need. So again, to reiterate the small points on throwing a changeup, straight four-seam changeup, make sure you stay behind the ball, keep the same arm speed, same hand speed, and you just finish right through the plate, right through your catcher, just like you would if you were throwing a fastball. And then with the two-seam changeup grip, same thing, you're going to keep the same arm speed, same hand speed, and as you get to the plate, you really want to emphasize on finishing out in front and finishing with that middle finger so that you get that little bit of late drop action as it gets to the plate. Thanks everybody for joining us today on Pro Tips for You. Today we talked about how to throw a changeup, the right situation to throw a changeup, and the different kind of grips. I'm David Pauley, and thanks for joining.